Greetings, humans! So today I'm going to be swatching my favorite eyeshadows for you. Originally, I was going to upload a video swatching my potted eyeshadows, but when I filmed that, I noticed that my phone camera was having trouble capturing just how the shadows looked in real life. So I think I'm going to put that off for later and see if I can refilm that. But for now, we're going to be swatching my favorite eyeshadows. I think I'm going to start off with my Pat McGrath palettes. I don't have all of them, but I do have a decent amount. So let's just get started. First here we have the first big mothership palette, the Subliminal palette. So this is the Subliminal palette. I really like these cool tone shades right now. This was actually the first palette that I got, but at the time, I wasn't using a lot of cool tones, and so this was just sitting in my drawer, so I had actually ended up returning it, and because I'm a terrible person, the moment I got back into cool tones, I asked my aunt if she could give this to me as a birthday present. So here I have it again. The main reason that I got it back again was because I could not forget these two shades. This is VR Violet, and then this one is Astral White. These two are absolutely stunning. They feel quite soft. You can feel the texture. I'm not sure if the camera can capture how beautiful it looks in real life, but this one, which is VR Violet, has a brownish base with a pinky purple to blue reflect, and it looks almost wet. And then this Astral White, it feels a little bit drier, but still performs very well. Has a transparent base with a blue reflect. I find these don't need a glitter glue. There is a little bit of fallout, but not much, and it adheres pretty well to the lid. So the other shades that I like in this palette specifically is this one, which is Ultimate Taupe. It's just a cool toned brown transition shade. I tend to really like brown transition shades that are just darker than my skin tone, as well as this one, which is a very pretty lavender shade. It's not as standout as some of her other metallics, but it's still a very nice formula. And this one is called Lilac Dusk. So next up we have Mothership 3 Subversive. I don't have the second one, which I believe is called Sublime. So this is Subversive. Originally, I was a little apprehensive and unsure if I should get this one because it has a lot of glittery shades, which even though Pat McGrath's glittery shades are really, really nice, they do still have fallout, so they can be a little bit tricky to work with. But I really, really enjoy this as a little fun party palette. My favorite shade in this one definitely has to be this blue one here, which is called Blitz Amethyst. This one is absolutely stunning. So this one has a slightly blackened base with a blue reflect that shifts slightly purple. It's super gorgeous, especially if you put it over black. So this is Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction. I don't have Mothership 4 Decadence. I was interested in it during the re-release, but it was never at a really good time, and in the end I convinced myself that I didn't actually really need it, so I never ended up getting it. But here's Mothership 5. So like in Subversive, I only have one favorite shade from this, and it's VR Fire Opal. This is so soft and beautiful, and it has a very strong green shift. So this is Mothership 6 Midnight Sun. If I had to decide, I think Midnight Sun would probably be my favorite out of all of her palettes. So in Midnight Sun, I really like these three shades. This one is Taboo. It's a really nice transition shade. This is Wicked Envy. It's extremely soft. It's the shadow that got me into olive greens, and now I'm obsessed with olive greens. Has a bit of a gold sparkle to it. It's very pretty. And then finally, this is Blitz Violet Orchid. This one's also very soft. It has a very smooth texture. It's purple with a blue reflect. It's very pretty. So next is Mothership 7 Divine Rose 1. If I had to say, this is probably my least favorite out of her Mothership palettes. So I have the limited edition pink version, which is super, super beautiful. I absolutely love the packaging. Although it is my least favorite out of her palettes, I still actually do quite like it, and I don't regret getting it as a set. And especially this shade I really like. So this one is Lovelace. Lady. Oh. So this is the last of the big Mothership palettes. This is Mothership 8 Divine Rose 2. This is the limited edition packaging. I don't want to show it because the chrome reflects everything, including my face and the camera setup. But here it is, the inside. So from the Divine Rose 2, I really like this matte shade. It's a very pretty peachy pink color. So the other shade that I really like in here is this. Oh, I forgot to say. So this peach shade is called Naked Blush, and this one that I just swatched is Eleganza. It's also slightly purple toned, but it's more pink compared to Lovelace, which is more of a brownish gray. And lastly is the VR Sextra Terrestrial. This one is extremely soft and smooth. It feels crazy insane, and it's got that really cool multi-chrome flip. So I only have 2 palettes left from Pat McGrath. It's the 6 pan of hers, Platinum Bronze. I got it on sale, so I think it was only maybe $30, as well as this holiday palette, which is the Nocturnal Nirvana quad from last year. This one I did pay full price for. I think it was $65. So very expensive. I definitely feel like I should have waited until it went on sale instead of thinking, oh, FOMO, and then buying it at full price. But anyways, let's start off with the 6 pan. So from the 6 pan, one of my favorite shadows definitely has to be this one, Smoke and Mirrors. It's the only one I'm going to swatch from this palette. It's just a taupey gray brown color, but I really, really love it. I really like her metallic formula. I absolutely love this shade. It's also very, very smooth. You can feel a little bit of texture, but it's super soft. This is called VR Emerald. I almost forgot, but I actually do have one single shadow from her. It's $25, so these are very expensive, but this is also one of my favorite shadows. This is called Divine Mink. It's a charcoal gray with a slightly like almost pink purple shimmer running through it. I absolutely love it. So these are all the shadows from the Pat McGrath palettes I absolutely love. So next up, let's swatch from my Natasha Denona palettes. Like with my Pat McGrath palettes, I don't have all of the Natasha Denona palettes, but I do have quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7. Let's just start off with the Metropolis palette. This one is definitely one of my favorite shadows. The cream formula is a very interesting formula. It's this olive green. I think this is the only olive green matte I have in my collection. And because of that, it has much love, and I really, really love using this. Very interesting formula. But yes, I do like it, even though I have heard some people don't like it personally, but I enjoy that formula. So this is the gold palette. I really enjoy this shade, which, oh, I forgot to name the other shade. The other shade from the Metropolis palette was called Lethal. But anyways, so this shade is called Sandstone. This one I really enjoy. I also like these two, but honestly, I use them quite interchangeably. I would say this one is my favorite only because it's the lightest, and I prefer a lighter transition color. I don't usually like using anything too dark in terms of mattes. From the metallics and the shimmers, definitely this color I absolutely love. I believe this one is called Lime Chrome. It's a little bit similar to the VR Fire Opal from Pat McGrath. I also really like this shade. This one is called Alchemist. This is normally the color I gravitate to whenever I use this palette. From here, the shadows I really like is definitely this one. This is one of my favorite matte shadows. It's called Per Se. Originally, I was quite afraid to use this matte shadow because it looks quite gray in the pan, but after using it on the eye, it actually warms up my crease really nicely and goes really well with the purple colors. And then I also really love this color, which is Livid. It's definitely the type of tone that I really enjoy in my purple shimmers. Super stunning. Has a little bit of a bluey purple reflect. And then next is this color, Dragon Bite. I really love because it is a green brown slash blue brown duochrome, which I absolutely adore, and I have to stop myself from buying more of every single time. So this is the Biba palette. The first one is Tusk. This looks like a cream shade, but it's actually just deep enough on me to add the slightest amount of depth on my eyelid. And then the other shade that I really like is this Tor. This is also one of her interesting cream formulas, and I really enjoy this. It's one of the few gray matte eyeshadows that I have. So this is the Sunrise palette. This is probably my least favorite out of all of her palettes because I don't usually use these types of tones, but I still do enjoy having them so that when I do want to use them, I have them there. I really like Morgan. It's a really pretty peachy orange color. And then next, I really like this color, Glory. But I really like using this whenever I do want a berry eye look, which is not super often. It doesn't swatch as well, but personally, I haven't had any issues using it. I've never had any issues with my Natasha Denona shadows. So next up is the Love palette, which when I first saw this, I absolutely had to have it because these purples, pinks, and reds really pull at my heartstrings. But I actually find I don't usually use pinks very often. But I still do enjoy having this in my collection, especially for this color Dream. I really like using it. It's also one of those creamy cream to powder formulas, I think it's called. And then the other color I like is Heart, because it's a really nice looking red, and I actually really like red eyeshadow. I know a lot of people don't like using red or pink eyeshadow because it makes them look like they have pink eye, and sometimes I think to myself, do I look like I have pink eye while wearing this? I will never know. But I don't care. So second to last, I have the Glam palette, which is her most recent palette, I think. her most recent 15 pan at least. So I really enjoy this crease shade here. Again, it's one of those just darker than my skin tone colors that I really like. And then I also really like this color down here, outer eyelid. But this is a nice taupey gray color, which I absolutely love. So lastly, this is my very last Natasha Denona palette. It is the Mini Gold palette. I really adore this little mini palette. My favorites are this color. This is also a slightly deeper than my skin tone transition shade. It's got like almost a slightly olivey tone to it, which means it pairs really nicely with the greens. I also like this color a lot. It's a very pretty green. Super stunning. So these are all of my favorite shadows from my Natasha Denona palettes. So lastly, from my palettes, I'm going to swatch my three out of my three little Viseart palettes and my one Charlotte Tilbury quad. So let's just start with this one. So this is the Petite Pro in Apricotine. Apricotine. I just call it the Apricot palette because I cannot be bothered to pronounce Apricotine, or however you pronounce that. So for Viseart, I don't actually really like their shimmer formula that much. It's super mediocre and doesn't really show up well. It's nice if you're looking for something subtle, but I don't really prefer it. If I had to say, I'd rather use almost anything else. But it is very smooth and blendable. So if you do enjoy something subtle, it's not bad. I just prefer other things. But I really love their matte formula. It's definitely my favorite matte formula, and I love all three colors here. They're very soft and blendable. So this is the Koi palette. Like I said, I don't really enjoy their shimmer formula, but I find that these shimmers are more like sheer toppers, which I actually do quite like sheer toppers. So I did end up getting this when I was looking for that sort of sheer iridescent sparkle formula. So I actually do enjoy these compared to their regular shimmer metallic formula. This one is very beautiful, and they're definitely very transformative depending on what type of base you put them on. And I also love these greens. And this is lastly the Grande Pro 1. I got this fairly recently for my birthday this year, so I definitely haven't had the chance to use all of these, but I definitely really like this purple. As you can see, I've used it a decent number of times already. It's very soft and beautiful. And then so my very last palette that I have for today is this Charlotte Tilbury quad. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury quad that I have. This is the Green Lights quad, or I think it's also the Rebel Reimagined quad. It was $53, which was damn expensive. I don't think I will ever buy a Charlotte Tilbury quad ever again. There's nothing wrong with the formula. In fact, I actually really, really like the formula on this. It's just that the packaging is extremely cheap, lightweight plastic. It does not feel like a $53 quad, and when I'm spending that amount of money, sure, I want a good high quality formula, but I also want nice packaging that tells me, hey, you spent $53, it was worth it because you have some amazing packaging, amazing formula. I don't know. I enjoy luxury makeup, but I buy it to feel expensive, and if the packaging feels cheap, doesn't make me feel very expensive. But anyways, I do actually really like the formula on this though, especially this color. This is 100% one of my favorite eyeshadows. It just blends so beautifully on the eye. Alright, next let's swatch out my single pressed eyeshadows, my favorite ones. I know my very first video, and this is my very second video, so my very most recent video was swatching these, but I still wanted to go ahead and swatch out my favorite ones out of all of these. So, out of these shadows, definitely Moontide. This one is just so gorgeous. I have not had these Terra Moon shadows for long, but I can already tell this is going to be one of my favorite shadows. Just look at how beautiful that is. And then next is definitely Lightyear. This one is amazing. Amazing. I'm not sure if I kept it in the other video, but I had said that this makes me feel like an alien unicorn. And I stand by that. These are so beautifully soft and stunning. So this is my Adept palette. From here, there's only one shadow that I really like, and it's this one. I find that this gives a lot of depth on the eye and looks really pretty. This one is called ACS 17. Okay, so next up is this Z palette with my JD Glow shadows, and then so I have quite a few that I like from here. Definitely Fairy Acid is one of them. I really like this gray shade with the gold glitters in it. I find it's quite unique in my opinion, at least from what I own, and it's really beautifully glittery. And then Good God, which I'm not sure if I mentioned in my previous video, is my favorite JD Glow shadow. This one is just so amazingly reflective and shiny and glittery. It's just beautiful. And then next is Plum. This one is a little more plainer, I guess you could say, almost, compared to some of these other ones, but I absolutely just adore the color on this, and I find that the gold shimmer really stands out nicely and looks really beautiful. So lastly would be these Give Me Glow shadows. So I have 3 out of here that I would say are my favorite. This one is Lemon Lime. It's not what I would usually go for, and I don't know if I said this in my other video again, mostly because I think I cut out quite a bit of what I had talked about because I kept on having awkward pauses. But this shadow was one that initially I wasn't going to buy because it's nothing like what I usually wear, but for some reason it was really calling my name, and so I ended up adding it on last minute to my cart. And when I got it, I was absolutely in love and very, very happy that I had decided to buy it, even though it's nothing like what I normally wear. But I find it's just super, super stunning, and I absolutely love wearing it. And this next one is Ultraviolence. I absolutely love this. This just looks really, really good on my eyes. And I can also just blend it out with a finger too. I don't even need a brush. And then so last is Storm, which I find is a very interesting purple toned gray. So those are my favorite pressed single shadows. So that's the end of the video. If anyone is watching this, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it or find it helpful. I also hope I did a much better job compared to last video. I did try to be more eloquent, however you say the word, as well as talk in my normal voice, because in my last video I was definitely mumbling. I had to cut out a lot of what I said due to how many awkward pauses and unintelligible mumbles there were. So I definitely hope that I did a much better job this time around, knowing that. But anyways, thanks for watching. Bye!